Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create this crisp straight line using acrylic paint. So if you'd like to know how to do this, then just keep on watching. What you'll need is something to paint on, your paints, some masking tape, something that won't pull off the acrylic paint. Also a ruler is also handy, and a lead pencil for the ruler, and also some water that is preferably clean, so I should probably do that. This technique may be possible with a matte medium. I haven't tried it with this before, but I figure I'll give it a go in this video. I've chosen white and this magenta colour just so there's a lot of contrast and you can really see the edge that we can make. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to cover the board with my white paint and then we'll go from there. Alright, so I've got my bottom layer down and I'm just going to wait for that to dry until we get on to the next step. Alright, so this is dry now, and what I'm going to do is, since I'm going to try doing this technique with the paint and with the gel medium, I'm going to do two separate lines. I'm going to paint in the middle with the magenta, but I'll do the separate techniques on either one, if that makes sense. You don't have to use a ruler for this part. I'm just doing this so that I can get kind of the straightest line possible. That way when I put the tape down, I can just line the tape with the line. You can put the tape down directly if you want, it's really up to you, but I find this way just to be a little bit easier. So now that I've got my lines, I'm going to put tape along them. Now generally with this part, because I'm painting the middle with the magenta, I'm going to put the tape down on the part that we don't want to paint on, which is the outside, and rather than putting the tape directly on the line, I'm going to put it like just next to it, so that when I paint in that section, I'm going over the lead pencil. I know you can erase it off acrylic paint, but I think it's just easy this way to paint over it, so let's do that. Let's go paint on this side and matte medium for that side. I'm going to paint a layer of paint over the edge of that tape there, and if you're using the paint method, you want to be painting this section with the colour that's on this side that's not getting painted, if that makes sense. The reason for doing this is because the first layer that you put down can actually bleed under the tape a little bit. So if I'm putting white paint on here first, when this bit here is already white, if it bleeds, it doesn't matter. So we're just kind of creating that initial barrier first to begin with, and then once that is dry, it acts as a seal so that nothing will bleed through. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and paint over this section with the white paint. Alright, so that is the paint side done, and now I'm going to go ahead and try the matte medium. So this is an epic fail. I haven't used this in a while, but I just went to use it and look, it's like it's gotten hard. Now what am I gonna do? Okay, well, since I no longer have matte medium that actually works, it is literally unusable. I can only show you with paint today, but I believe it does work with a matte medium that has a clear finish. All you really need is something to seal the barrier between the tape and the bit that you want to paint on. Now that this bit's dry, I'm going to paint the magenta over the top. As you can see, I've painted the magenta over the tape as well. And now all we've got to do is wait for this layer to dry, and with this technique you really want to make sure the paint is dry. Pulling the tape off when the paint isn't dry doesn't really work and it can mess it up for you, so make sure it's dry. Alright, so the paint seems to be pretty dry. Let's see how this turned out. I am pretty happy with how this one turned out. Most of it is pretty straight. There was a couple of little bits around there that lifted up a teeny bit because the paint mustn't have been 100% dry, but overall I'm very happy. As you can see, it is a very straight line. So that is all for today. I hope you guys liked the tutorial and you found it somewhat helpful, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye! I've been doing a couple of mini originals with this paper. I've been cutting one of the pieces into 4, and then I've got like little mini originals here that I'm eventually going to sell when I set up a shop.